Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Play ball. All right. Welcome to June 3rd, 2020 Commissioners meeting, and my goodness, it's hard to believe that it is June 3rd, but it snuck right up quick, didn't it? So, as normal and as usual, anybody's got anything that's not on the agenda, now's the time to bring that up. Yes, ma'am?
On behalf of the Scott County Heritage Center and Museum, each of you have been presented with a copy of these. This was paid for through a grant from the Community Foundation. Mary Beth Comer obtained that grant, and then she had people write stuff in here of, a short history of each township, along with some photos that were interesting. So we felt that the commissioners ought to each have a copy, if you don't already have a copy. And we're very pleased. This is the only bicentennial project that we have been able to get finished this year thus far. So.
Well, thank you very much. I certainly will look forward to reading this. And again, this has been a very trying year, and I had a lot of things planned for the bicentennial, and we kicked it off, I think, in great style here in front of the courthouse, and then all of a sudden,
things went down,
and then things went south, and so hopefully before year's end we'll be able to have something that again kind of commemorate that.
And we are still hoping to have a bicentennial celebration in early September. We are working with the Fair Board to see if somehow we can coordinate some of their attractions they were going to have at their grandstand, but we'll see.
I have read through it. Very good. Very good.
Thank you.
Some things I didn't know, and I thought knew a lot about it.
Wow. And I'm going to give one to the judge because he needs to be educated too.
I do. I've only been here since 1979. But yeah.
You're still a rookie then, right? Some of us been around a little longer, haven't we, Bob? Well, you come in 74 here. Yeah, but I was talking about the start to finish line button. All right, anybody else got anything? If not, we'll jump right into the agenda, and we'll jump in. We got Live Spring Project pay request application. Nick, how are you tonight?
I'm good.
Good. We understand.
Yeah, we have a pay app for the contractor in the amount of $155,117. This number's free and should be the last one for their final. Once they complete the punch list and everything, they're pretty much done out there. They're just gonna have to tie up the loose ends and everything.
Okay.
This will be paid by with LifeSpring's funds through the county. I spoke with the CFO of LifeSpring today. He said that they had wired it last week. So I'll ask you to approve it pending the receipt of those funds.
Okay. Okay. All right. Everybody understand that it is their money. It just has to go through the county on this project. So
It's not local money.
it's not local money. It is their money, and it just has to be handled through us. So.
Well, I got a question. If we don't do it, we get his money?
Well, I guess it's where you catch.
Technically,
He said it's wired. That's all I know.
I'll make a motion to accept it.
Motion made to pay the $155,117. I hear a second,
I'll second.
and I'll make it unanimous. And
Get out of here.
there's nothing.
nothing signed. Well, that's easy enough.
In a minute, so we'll be good.
All right,
Thank
we
you.
got her in there. Thank you very much. Courthouse entry, Michael Allen Ritz, Architects. Hello.
And this goes back to what we talked about quite a while back.
Yes,
About the front
yes.
entrance.
Yeah, come on.
Hopefully something, thank you. Take my mask off.
You're fine, you're fine.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, you're fine, you can do that. We're far enough apart
Not
here,
sure
I
the
think
policy.
I think we're all right, we're social distancing. and again, I think John probably talked to you a little more than us, but, you know, we have, an interest in, looking, our main entry door is the front door, of course. We have an elevator here, and now that we put security in, we've actually used the east end entrance. Makes it a little unhandy for people. I mean, there is a ramp, but again, people do have problems even walking up the ramp. As you know, through ADA, it don't have to be just, you know, it can be COPD or anything that can list that. And the elevator's here. Our trouble is we've not had the room to be able to put the metal detector, and for people not have to stand outside in the rain or the whatever weather to get them in the door. And we're just looking at options, and just looking at what it would take to reconstruct that some down there to where we could bring people through the front door, and then the elevator right there is kind of what we're looking at.
Yeah, that's what's been described as, and it's, we've taken some looks at that, you know, we've done some real quick schematics of it, which we didn't bring because we understood this to be an introduction, so.
Okay, and that's fine, yes, that's fine. But that's so that you know the scope of what we're looking at. That's what we're looking to do, is put the focus back on the front of the building to where people can come and go from there, and make it maybe a little simpler for people that have disabilities being able to get in the building and get to where they need to go. So that's
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
anything on this side, Mike, that you think of?
No, I mean, I guess my question would be, and, because I have a different thought about what the front of the building ought to look like, and I'm not, I don't know what I don't know what
We
they've been talked to about, but I mean, my whole plan is, I would hate to see the front of the building change. I mean, what I looked at over the years is changing one of the entryways on either side of the elevator to put a floor or something in there to where that could be an entryway into where security could be there, come in, come out, either hit the elevator or hit the stairs, because there's there's duplicate stairs there, I mean, on both sides of the elevator, so it's doing something with that and not change the facade or the change of the front of the building, so that's where I'm looking at. I need to see it change.
I'm okay with that,
Yeah.
actually, just where I'm at, what we do cheapest to make it
Yeah.
look good.
Yeah, and again, I'll back up what
what
Mike says there. I don't want to do anything that would change the aesthetics of the building in any way, and outside. You know, I know we'll have to do something on the inside, but again, that's kind of what we're looking at, so.
If I'm not mistaken, we need to incorporate some ramping to be able to get, or you just.
I don't think,
My
the
thought-
ramping, see, when they come through the front door, that's the ground level. Your ground level, and once they come through the door, the elevator's right there,
They just
so
hit the
they
elevator
can get
or
on the
the
elevator.
stairs.
But the problem has been,
Okay.
you know, is not having the room to put a metal detector and people.
It's
And,
real tight in there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we need to look at that and see how we can do that in a timely manner, get people in and out of the courthouse, and,
Jason, you got something?
Yeah, thank you, Mike. And I'm Judge Mallon, the judge of the circuit court, and so, you know, the primary, it's not the only reason, the primary reason we have security is so that we can run the courts efficiently and safely. And, you know, and just my 2 cents is, you know, there's obvious problems coming in here, but I would love to see the amount of space to where the public can come in and go through security. The employees can come in and be bypassed or way through security or directed through security, and then everyone can go out another exit. You know, we've got 2 doors there, and if there's a way to do traffic flow that way, I know under these pandemic regulations, having the traffic flow one way is important. And I know the reason we're talking is because this area doesn't work very well, but some of the problems that we're experiencing right now is obviously everybody's going in and out the same exact door. It's a 4-foot wide space that we're having to pass each other through at times. And then the other problem is for the court and the court staff and the probation officers. You know, if I try to get in here before 9, but if I come in here at 9 o'clock and there's 5 or 6 people lined up out front to get in the building, those are the people I'm gonna have to be sending to jail in about 20 minutes, and I gotta walk past them to get in the building. So having that extra space to where people that can get in and get past without having to stand there and wait or to have to push past somebody. Cause that's the other thing, I don't want people to think, you know, if there's 6 people out there, I don't want to cut in line either, cause I'm not necessarily any better than anybody else. But we do have security concerns about having to come past some of the people up there sometimes, and there's other ways, and we can talk to the sheriff about coming in other doors and stuff. But, you know, there's pros and cons to all those options, so just something to keep in mind as we take a look at it. And, you know, like I said, that's just my 2 cents, and maybe we get maybe I get what I want in the perfect world, maybe I don't. But those are my thoughts. And Sheriff, I don't know, if you run security, I don't know if you have any other thoughts.
The only thing we need to do is just make sure that we've got sufficient space for a metal detector, and whatever you all decide that you want to do, of course, it's up to the judge and you guys, whatever you want to do in here, we'll make it work, but we just have to have the space to be able to do it. So that would be the only thing that we'd be concerned about, is just having the space and the traffic flow, because you'll design the traffic flow, I'm assuming, flow during the architectural design, correct?
Yes.
So, yeah.
You all did look at it last year, I mean, that's been a year ago, but
Yes,
I
you
know
walked
you all
us
took
through.
a look at it. That's some idea of what we're talking about.
Right.
By the way, my name's David Allen.
Yeah, I'm Angie Clear.
I'm the president, Angie is the senior project manager. We've got 36 years of experience. We've been with Michelle Allen Ritz, formerly Michelle Tillman Ritz, for 30.
Approaching 30 years.
Yeah, so, and before I was doing this, my previous one was Cox Allen and Associates from Louisville. And we did a lot of security projects, specifically for federal courthouses throughout the country, and we did some embassy work, and won an award for the Natcher Courthouse in Bowling Green, Kentucky. I have personal experience. I did a security facility, a separate one, kind of the type you're doing here, at the Fort Knox Gold Bullion Depository. So we have some experience in this kind of thing.
And I'll bet if there's any money out there available, you'd know where to find it too.
No?
There may not be much, but just a thought.
Yeah.
We like the extra money. Okay.
And if there's anything, I think this goes unsaid, that Tammy mentioned about any coronavirus, additional safety precautions that have come up as a result of that, which I know you talked about milling around and gathering all in the same spot. So if there's something we want to look at the same time, it would be good to consider that.
I guess, let me ask the hard question nobody wants to ask right here. What's it cost for you guys to look at this and give us some kind of, I guess, idea of what we could or could not do, and maybe have a couple of options? What kind of cost are we looking at to get something like that done, you think?
Well, I'd say 5 figures, I think. That's yeah, probably.
Well, I think if we could start with something more on the feasibility level,
There you go.
and then talk about, give you several options and say they would be, this is what it would take, in a range of an estimate of what it would be, and maybe even an idea of phasing, we could approach it like that. And then once something's selected, then you're talking a different, if you decide to proceed then.
That's how most of our clients on small projects are tending to want to work nowadays, is, a phase, not to commit to the whole thing at once, but go into phases, do a design phase, and maybe do preliminary cost estimates, take this step further, and you're comfortable with that.
And look at, as you said, funding options. Sometimes we've worked, I know River Hills was here and they're gone, but we've done a lot of work with them, and in conjunction with funds available there. I don't know if they are available for this, but we're very familiar with working with grants or projects where we have some standards that have to be followed in order to get the funds or to meet the requirements.
So I guess I'll go along with what Bob was saying. I guess is to move the ball forward from this day to you coming back with something. I said, what is that costing us? What kind of money are we talking to? For you to come back with even a plan to show, hey, here's what we're willing to do, or here's a plan that you can do, and then if we accept that plan, then I guess that's when monies would have to be found, but, so I mean, I guess that's kind of
Yeah.
what the question was, is what's the upfront fees or costs, we're gonna have here?
Well, of course, you don't pay us anything until we do some work. Couple of thousand.
Yeah, I think so. We could give something of
So you could
legitimate
come up-
value. We
yeah,
don't
you-
just wanna hand you something and say, well, you could do this or this or this.
Yeah,
We
well, I
want it
understand
to be a little more,
So
usable.
I guess where I'm, I think
Yeah.
everybody needs to know what it's
Yeah.
gonna cost to get that initial step of going, hey, here's what we think would be good, and then we'd have to decide if that's what we were going for, but, so.
Did I hear a couple thousand, is that what I heard?
Yeah.
Just to get it started, we okay there somewhere?
I think we could come up with something somewhere,
Well, I do too, but
yeah, we have to look, well, the other places in general, but I think we can come up with a couple, if it's gonna be around 2,000 or so, I think we can do that, and then there are some monies that are being earmarked, kind of, you guys will have more information in the next commissioners meeting, but, there are funds being made available, and if it can be directly tied to COVID and a COVID response, that actually bricks and mortar, what are preliminaries, we don't know the final answer, but could be considered too. So, and obviously every entrance that we have, we're down to a single door except for the front. So we might be able to argue that point that is definitely due to safety.
so let's start off, would that be the feasibility study, or would that be, okay,
I think it's just-
okay.
We do the whole feasibility study for.
I think to
Feasibility.
look at the options
Yeah.
and give you a ballpark of,
Where
and
we,
then you can make a decision, what you would want to look at a little closer.
Let me ask you this, and you mentioned a minute ago, you mentioned a minute ago that you're talking 5 figures. Now, is that for the whole project or for you? I mean, are you talking about drawings and all that, that
Yes.
it could be 5 figures?
It depends if when we were first here, there were some discussions of some additions and things. It's kind of gone in a different direction tonight than where we thought it possibly could be, so,
Well,
if it's studying the space and kind of telling you how to reuse your space, I think that might be a different thing, but if it gets into a major construction project that is.
Well,
very
and the
big,
reason I'm
trying to
asking
address
that,
the front of
you
the
know,
building,
the
that's
difference
another
between
thing.
5 and 6 figures is one number. So that's what I'm
Right.
asking. And the difference between 4 and 5 figures is one number.
Right.
So are we at the 5 figures on the low end, or are we on a 5 figure at the high end? It's gonna be your part, I guess. But, because I got, what we're looking at is, okay, we're gonna have $100,000 involved here, for you. And then, or 50,000, and then construction costs, now all of a sudden you're looking at a $500,000 project real easy, or $1 million project
Yeah.
to do something that, we don't have a clue, so.
I think where we were hesitant is that you have this historic structure that you've added this really nice complementary addition to, and everyone sees that, including us. We've talked about how nice it is, and how would you not affect that,
Yes.
And then anytime you get into working with a historic building, and we don't know what the repercussions are.
Okay.
A couple of ways, from getting permission to do it, and secondly, not disturbing things that you might have to work around things differently, but
Yeah.
I think we can get that to be a little more clear, but yeah, that's not the intent. It's just if it would become something major, that's where.
good worth looking at.
The questions you're asking about cost are hard to address because we don't know what form this is going to take. If we follow the idea that we don't add anything on the building, we just kind of working it, that might be one price level. If we end up doing an addition, that might be another. So we have to kind of get into it and kind of walk.
How many
through it.
consultants do we need? A structure consultant, depending on how extensive something might become,
Yeah.
things like that, but, I don't see that, to get you started and get you going and let you think,
So, yeah.
to find out what the scale is and what the options are.
We would write the formal proposal so we all understand what the expectations are and the fees are up front. And then there'd probably be the choices of phases that you could select, you know, just go through them in a serial fashion, and when one's finished, then you can authorize the next.
I think we'll look at it, give it a try, and not what we need, we can't do it, fine, but we, you know, I think we'll try the first phase.
What's your thoughts, Mike?
Well, like I said, I've actually had an engineer probably a year or so ago that, you know, well, I think that you and I talked after that, but a year or so ago, talk about this entryway out here and how he would, you know, could see it, but that's an engineer and architects are kind of your vision, and he's brick and mortar, and
Right.
but I mean, I think something needs to happen. I mean, like I said, I've talked to him over a year ago about what I envisioned out there, and maybe if it was enough room, if they could show a layout and have all the machinery that you need to get in and get out, and bypasses for, you know, for people to not have to, you know, technically see each other, you know, or pass each other. But then that's not his job. His job is to tell me that he can put a floor in there and he can do X, Y, Z. So, I'm for something. I don't know if what you guys are, you know, proposing is something I'm looking for, but I'm looking for a bigger area. I know this down here was, something we started out with. I think, the courthouse security committee, I think that's what they had originally came up with, so, and it is congested down there. And maybe, we always said along that once we got it going, we could always tweak it, change it, adjust it. But also with the elevators being here, I still think we need to focus our area there. I mean, my biggest drawback again is what I said earlier, is that I don't want to change what the front of the building looks like. So whatever happens to me has to happen inside this building. I mean, but I'm one vote, so, but, I don't have a problem letting them see what they come up with, but like I said, you know, I don't know what they're gonna bring to us, so I mean.
Could you, here's just a thought, I'm thinking money again. $2,000 to just get it started. If we decide to do something, could you absorb that $2,000 into the program? I mean, if we decide to actually do something,
Yeah.
it's $2,000 if we don't do anything, basically.
It would be part of the preliminary,
Yeah.
information that we would need to gather anyway. A big part of what we would do,
Yeah.
along to what you were saying, would be to talk to the involved parties. I know you've given 2 cents, but it just makes us ask more questions, like how does this work? And we want to make sure that if you're going to do it, that it's going to work for the people that use it on a daily basis. So that's part of what we would do.
You're writing stuff down. I'd rather you write several thousand than 2,000.
You want me to
All right,
check
you
that
mean,
way too?
let me change what I said.
When would you be able to get back with us?
What, but,
Just to tell us what you found out in
Oh,
the
okay.
starting phase.
You get them a proposal by end of next week, right?
yeah, but are you asking for, you're talking about just to bring back the information,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, yes.
How many people do you want us to, the biggest trick I've always found is getting the people that I need to talk to and making sure I can get that information back. It's not so much what we produce.
Well,
you
I
want
can't,
us
I
to-
can't say we're in a rush, because we've been
Okay.
waiting quite a while.
Right,
So whatever your timeline is fine with me, if these guys are okay with it, because I don't know if
Okay.
it's next month, fine, if it's 6 weeks, I mean,
I think 6 weeks would be more practical,
Well, that should be plenty.
We got a
but we
meeting,
could
Karen.
see, if you would like us to come and, have a,
meeting, when, 6 weeks.
at your next meeting, do you meet 2 weeks or 4 weeks?
We meet every 2 weeks.
Every
Every two.
Monday.
Every-
She's looking up the
Wednesdays.
meeting for you.
first and third Wednesdays of each month.
Okay, so what do you have next?
We've got June the 17th, which is too soon, July the 1st, July 15th, and then we would not meet again until August the 5th. Does August the 5th sound? You want the middle of July?
I think we could do middle of June.
I think so, because we spent quite a bit of time up here with John and Tammy earlier,
Does the
and,
15th?
July 15th.
Yeah, I'm wide open.
so we have the physical parameters, I think,
We have existing drawings, we have photographs, we have,
Right.
probably took a few measurements as well.
Okay, so, and again, I'm going back to be clear,
okay.
for myself. So, you know, a couple $1,000, and what I understand you're gonna do is come back with maybe 2 or 3 options and say, here's 2 or 3 things that we think we can do, and then if we pick one of them, then you would just go ahead with
We
the.
could investigate further.
Go on farther, but I would probably be all right with that if, I mean, I would be all right with that, so, if, you know, as long as we get a couple, 3 ideas that we can at least, start looking to see what we can do. What do you think, you do?
I don't have a problem with that. I mean, like I said, we need a direction, whether it's somebody saying, hey, here's the area you have and here's what you can do in that area, so.
We were probably better off financially a year ago than we are now, so
Okay.
that is a concern, but
Right.
we'll do.
I have a question. Will you all select the security equipment that you want and give it to us to work around, or are you looking for us to advise on that?
I think we're gonna
We
probably
already
look to you for advice on that because of the, you know, again, you know, we're limited to space down there, and I think you're in that business and have designed these in federal courthouses and everything else. I think you pretty well will have the knowledge over us on what can we do to get people in and out of here, maybe not running by each other and that kind of things. And I do, and Tammy is right about one thing is, you know, and is right now, I think that, because of the COVID-19, there is a opportunity here to, you know, tie some of that with it because it is a safety issue. When you got people, you know, that's passing in a 4-foot hallway, as he says, I think you certainly have a safety issue, so I think we'd also be looking for anything out there that would help us out there too.
And it is a different issue than what we were looking at last year. Last year, we were just talking about EV and getting out, that was the virus.
Yeah.
You're right, it is a little, and you mentioned that there's some options you might be able to look into there to
So,
look, so.
Jerry, I got a question to you. What would you need more than what you got right now as far as security wise?
Really, just the metal detector, honestly, and the, gun lockers. And if they've got a, cheap, scanner, bag scanner, then we would be in pretty good shape, actually.
So
Are you talking about a wand scanner, or are you talking about
No,
a?
they would sit on a belt that we're
Yeah.
both to, we like to have at the airports.
Yeah. Well, I've seen those being monster too. Like the one I
They
go
take up
through.
a lot of space.
Yeah, they take up a lot of space, so.
They do.
But that's, I mean, technically more, about what you got now besides the
Yeah.
scanner part?
Right, yeah, I think we're in pretty good shape other than that, because we've got all the tools, and also, I was gonna tell you this, one of the, temperature taking machines that we've got ordered, one of those in the front door, because that'll
Yeah.
eliminate a lot of the contact anyway.
That's 2 bills, isn't it?
Yeah, around 2,000, that's what it was.
Does someone have to man that, person
No.
standing next to it?
No, what happens is you can man it, but, they'll walk up to it and they stand there, and it takes their temperature, and it'll say, you cannot enter into the building, or it'll say you are cleared to enter into the building, then they would come to the next step of checking your records.
It's a new toy.
Yeah.
Some genius thought it up when COVID hit.
Right.
Need a motion?
yeah, I think, if you want them to come back with some ideas, and I think the motion, I'm gonna suggest the motion we read not to exceed the $2,000 for options.
Why don't you just make a
And,
motion?
You want me to make the motion?
You can do that, can't you?
Yeah, there's no reason that you can't. I will make a motion that we, have, Metro Island Ritz, architects to come back with, at least 3 options. Would that work? And for it not to exceed $2,000, in the process. And, then at that point, we will look at it, on what you bring back, and then we'll have to go from there. But I think, again, you guys are in the business, you've worked with this, and we're not. So I think we need your help here, and I'd certainly be I think it would be worth to do it. And Tammy, I will ask this, we do have money somewhere in a place to pay this, right? I mean, I don't want these people to have to come back and sue us or something for
Right, that's right.
$2,000.
And then we do have a Cume building fund that's got a little bit of money in it,
Okay.
so we can probably ask for appropriation in there.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
Motion second.
I'll make it unanimous.
We got it. So, whenever you guys get around, and like I say, we're, take your time, but hurry up, you know what I'm saying?
So should we coordinate with Tammy if we need to get in the building or talk to anyone?
That's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna give you one.
All right.
It's just if you want to get a hold of me directly, this is.
Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thank you all.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Coming down.
Thank you.
Hopefully it worked out.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I've already dropped this off.
Thank you.
All right, next up is the courthouse COVID-19 safety, and we have Judge Mountain and Sheriff Gooden here.
And Doug Earl.
And Doug, I didn't know what Doug was here for. I didn't know what Doug was here for. I thought you never can tell, they might be later down. Doug, come on up and join us.
Doug, are you on the clock?
He's the brains of the operation.
Doug.
Unfortunately, I'm salary, so I'm on the clock.
Well, you're always on the clock here.
Yeah, he is. That's an easy answer.
All right, I guess we'll turn this over to you guys.
Well, the only thing that I would say is just kind of starting it off is that, as our job is to do what you guys want us to do. So you need to come up with a plan, a step plan, and make it mandatory. Because at first we had people coming in and it was taking their temperatures okay. As this is going on, we got people coming in, employees saying, I ain't getting my temperature taken, you're not taking my temperature. So.
Wait, hold on a minute, you got employees saying that?
Yeah, we had some.
Elected officials?
Yes.
So we just need to, you just tell us what you want us to do.
Yeah.
And I think, the judge has already got a perfect plan. He's got the plan laid out. If it's something that you guys agree with, just let me know what you want me to do, and we'll get it done whatever you need.
Well, and I apologize for the communication. I think all of us did a great job of communicating up front, and now 6 weeks on, we've all kind of got COVID fatigue. And so the communication needs to open up better. We were under a requirement, still are actually, by Monday, we were supposed to file with the Supreme Court an operations plan. And they have, of course, they're in Marion County, and Marion County is not Scott County, but they've got all their recommendations and expectations, some of which I agree with, and some of which I think are not really applicable or scalable to Scott County. But that was due on Monday. We're still trying to get that done. So you guys opened on Monday. That was great. No problem with that. I think your policies are good. But there's some question about exactly what the policies mean, and whether there may be, I want to make life as easy for everybody as I can. The fact of the matter is I've got 30 or 40 people coming to my council tables in a 3-hour period. So my needs maybe are a little bit different than maybe the auditor or the assessor. I get that. I don't want to make them do things they don't want to have to do. My plan, and Judge Hauser and myself have decided to do, and would hope that you guys would concur in that, is on the second floor, we're going to require masks in the public spaces and in the courtrooms. We've got the disinfectant and all that. Talked to Josh and Eric about disinfecting as often as possible. Some of this money may be available, which I'd love to see a third custodian just for the courtrooms to help us keep those clean, if we can do that. And then, looking at, communication being what it was, looking at some information that was posted by the newspaper on Facebook, insofar as what you guys, what your expectations were. Talking to the health department about what their expectations were, it was my expectation that everybody should be temperature checked coming in the door. I personally, and I know the health department feels like employees should be checked and the public should be checked. As far as I'm concerned, I'm happy to say, if the sheriff is able to check anybody going to the second floor, just leave me on the second floor and I'll be happy. You guys can do what you want to do on the first floor. But, you know, like I said in an email to somebody last week, I'm happy to be the bad guy too, as long as nobody's gonna throw me under the bus. But I personally would like to see temperature checks for everybody, but if not everybody, then, and I know the prosecutor's office and, well, Tom, I haven't talked to Tom yet, but prosecutor's office on the second floor, they're fine with that, and Circuit and Superior Court are fine with it. But
So, I'm mystified here. I mean, that's usually not the case, but we have somebody that is elected official, not employees, but elected official that's refusing to have their temperature taken.
What I told my guys at the door was, is that when somebody comes in, they're elected official, and it was under Judge Mount's orders here, that if they were an elected official or worked as an employee in the county courthouse, if they refused to have their temperature taken, then we would document the name and just submit it to him, you know what I'm saying, for further consideration. Because here's the thing about it is this, the judge gives me an order, it's an order. I don't have an option to say can or can't. Judges, I'll be sending my own place over there, you know, sitting in it. So I do what the judge tells me.
I give you some intermediate option to correct yourself.
Well, I have a problem with that, for I think, especially an elected official ought to be above board, and you're right. The question I have about what you said about the mask.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, and you might be able to help, and you're an attorney too, but can you legally tell somebody that they have to wear a mask in a public building?
I can control what happens in the courtrooms. There's an argument I can control the whole building. I'm not asking to do that. But I certainly, and I can give Bob some information on that I got from State Court Administration last week. I certainly can set that expectations in my courtroom and in the immediate areas outside the courtroom, and that's, yes, I can. And that's a reasonable question. But yeah, we can do that in light of, we have to have a good reason, and this is a good reason. So next summer, if there's no pandemic, then there's no longer a good reason, and there's an argument I can't do it anymore.
I mean, I go back to the old sign on the door, no shoes, no shirt.
That's
no
exactly,
service. I mean,
the opinion I got from the State Court Administration, the first 3 words on that are, no shoes, no service, no shoes, no shirt, no mask, no service. That's exactly what it says, so.
okay.
What do we do with elected officials if they no, tell them they can't come in?
I think you can do that.
Okay.
I would-
I wanna make
yeah.
sure that you're in this now, so I mean,
Yeah.
we legally got, okay to say you can't come in, I don't care who you are.
You gotta enter the courthouse, if the judge can control the courthouse.
Yeah.
And if it's controlled that way, he can't get in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he's asking, I'm talking about the downstairs.
And the other thing is, it seems to me like an elected official would, it
Want
seems
to.
to me like there's the outside chance elected officials would wanna be the leaders as opposed to the obstructors. That's a unique idea, I guess.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Well, I'm okay with telling them to use it or lose it. Don't come in.
Yeah, and I just don't wanna be the only one. I mean, like I said, if it's, I'm happy to be the asshole of the second floor if I gotta be, but, and I'm happy to be on the first floor too, but I'd like to make sure we're on the same page and I'm not, you know.
And by the way, if they get that temperature, it could be something else. They could be sick. We'd hope somebody
Sure.
with temperature that
Well,
high wouldn't wanna come in
I
anyway.
guess
Right.
the question then would be, if we went to the $2,000 monitor, they're gonna walk through it anyway, they're gonna refuse, they're gonna
Real
jump
quick.
over it, or
Yeah,
are
right.
they not gonna say, I'm not going through it, well, don't
Yeah.
come in.
Well, and the other thing is, you know, as far as Hipaa concerns are, and that was one of the first questions somebody had, and Michelle can back me up and Bob on this. You can take their temperature, you can't record their temperature. So, you know, if we were down there saying, oh, Jerry Gooden came in today, his temperature was 100.2. Can't do that, but you can take it and you can admit them or not admit them based on that information, as long as you're not retaining the information, so. And then, you know, as far as, I know masks can be a political issue too. So I personally would love to see masks in all the public spaces in the courthouse. I'm happy to say that, you know, as long as I get it on the second floor, Judge Hauser and I are happy with that. So the other thing I was gonna say, and Michelle came on Thursday last week and walked through, something else we'd like to start doing is, for traffic flow purposes, use the east stairway up only, use the west stairway down only, so people aren't passing themselves on the stairway. And then the other thing that might allow us to do, and maybe take more manpower, maybe won't, but if we only have people going up this stairway, then that'll be easier to temperature check the second floor. Sounds like that's not gonna be an issue, but for traffic flow purposes, everybody coming out in and out of this door is not ideal. I know there's a give and a take to every option, but I'd like to talk to Jerry about, and everybody about whether maybe we could use this door as an exit or the front door as an exit only, so that people aren't having to crowd past each other at the door. That's not a decision I want to make today, but I'd like to at least talk about that.
I think it's very, very feasible, and I spoke to Tammy this morning, about the, grant money that's coming in. What we may have to do as a temporary thing, as long as this continues, is we will have to have probably 2 more part-time people here. There would be 1 person that would be up on the second floor, marshaling that, making sure it's okay. And then we would need 1 person at the exit. I know it sounds stupid to have somebody at the exit, but the reason we have to have people at the exit is because people let people in and all that stuff. So we would just have to have 2 more part-time, jailers over here to be able to accomplish that. Am I right, Doug?
That's right, yeah.
So that's not a problem with us, you know what I'm saying? The only issue we have, period, with any of it is this: we're the pawns in this thing.
Sure.
You tell us what you want, that's what we will do. Because just basically, there's no dog in the fight for us, you see what I'm saying, besides trying to keep everybody safe. And that's what our goal is. So you just let us know what you want to do, we'll get it done. And we'll be able to enforce it, obviously, with either an ordinance or a rule, an order. Am I on the right basis?
Yeah, and this plan for the Supreme Court, I'm gonna have, Marcia's proofing it tonight, and I'll have it ready tomorrow, I'll send it to you. It's nothing that you don't already probably know we're gonna do. We're using video as much as possible. It's working out actually a lot better than you might even expect. We're gonna continue to do that even if we didn't have a pandemic. We've learned some tricks that we're gonna keep. I'm not gonna have 70 people sitting in my courtroom, obviously, anytime soon, but maybe never again. We're, working on getting all those things. We're bringing many fewer people over from the jail. Last week, Doug had 4 transport orders to go to all over Indiana to pick up prisoners. We withdrew all those transport orders, did it all by video, conducted our business and didn't have transportation costs. That, we're not going back. We're gonna be doing a lot of that stuff. So, we're gonna.
That's a positive.
I'll make a suggestion I would make to make it easier, because it is much easier, I think. The judge has got the entering order anyway, and the easier thing from a county commissioner point of view is to simply agree to his order, so we're all on the same page, in my view.
Yeah, that way you guys wouldn't need an ordinance. What I'd like to do is put in the order that I presented up to the county. I'd like for you guys to vote to say, so that I can say in the order you guys agree.
I'm okay with that, but when you were talking about a minute ago, you said an order upstairs, and like,
Well, that's what I'm
downstairs,
saying.
you guys do what you want.
Well, no, what I'm saying is, I'm to put the order together.
Yeah.
What I don't wanna do is put an order together saying temperature checks in the whole
Yeah.
building, and I got 3 commissioners saying, that's not what we wanna see happen. So I wanna work with you guys, is what I'm saying.
Well, I do too, I just wanna make sure
Yeah.
we're not on something,
No.
we're doing something downstairs, you're doing.
No, I'd like to see a consistent policy throughout the building. Now,
I agree.
And I think, Michelle, I'll pick on you back there because I talked to you about this earlier. Michelle has certainly said that is something that the health department is recommending, is the temperature checks, and in the public hall, especially in the public, sector, in the hallways and stuff, that people would wear masks. And, I'm good with that. I don't, masks are troublesome, as we all sit here trying to speak, we know that. But again, we are social distancing from where we're at.
yeah, as far as what happens, what I tell my staff is, because, we talk about setting examples. What I've told my staff is, I want you wearing a mask when you come in, I want you wearing a mask when you go out, when you're sitting at your desk and you're not within 6 feet of each other, I get it. It's,
Yeah, and I understand that, it's a different story.
You do what you wanna do in your
Right.
offices, but
And,
coming and going.
But, I try to.
If you get within 6 feet of somebody, put it on.
Right.
And again, I try to wear one when I go into businesses, any kind of businesses out here, and it's not so much, I've never, let's just face it, you're either gonna catch it or you're not gonna catch it probably. that don't scare me that much, COVID don't. But I think, out of respect for the people that
Yeah.
working in these places, I think
Well, and
that's the reason I do it, so.
What it comes down
I'll
to me
continue
is
do
we
it.
have to look out for the least of them, right?
Sure.
So, and in my courtroom, I got people that are immune compromised to a large degree, elderly people who have to come in there. If I'm gonna order somebody to be in my courtroom, I want them to be safe, and I'd rather order a 22-year-old to wear a mask that thinks he doesn't have to than to have a 65-year-old come in there and be uncomfortable. So, that's what
I wanna be clear, if somebody walks in that door, if we're going this route, whether it's an employee or elected official, if they ain't gonna take their temperature, they're going out the door.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I'm
I'm
good with
sure we're all clear on
Now,
that.
it'll take me tomorrow to get the order together, so maybe
Okay.
we do a rollout and we start that
Yeah.
official.
Okay,
We voluntarily till Monday, but then Monday, that's the policy, that way we can
Okay.
make sure everybody knows.
yeah.
I think, it just makes sense to me, I mean,
I agree.
So I know we agree on temperature, and so to make sure I understand, masks in the whole building in public space, is that correct?
yeah.
To me, mask in any place in any place, you're within 6 feet of somebody.
Somebody, okay.
And what we will do too is we'll bring a bunch of masks over too for people. She's got, okay, and that way if somebody comes in and needs one, we'll say, here you go, you got it.
And we always gotta keep in mind, there is people have health issues.
Yeah, and
If
that's.
they got a
there's
card or
exceptions
something
to every
says
rule.
I can't, but,
Yeah, there's exceptions to every rule.
and we might want, I'm sure we'll be finding out what those exceptions are pretty quick. Probably.
Let me ask you this question here, and because it will come up, whenever you do something like this, and I know, if I'm not mistaken, July the 1st, I think the state is going to lift, basically, you're supposedly back to normal.
Right.
And so is this, in this order, how long will it be in
Well,
effect for, and that kind of stuff, I
It's,
guess.
you know, what we're getting from the Supreme Court is more conservative than what the governor is wanting to do, but the, you know, the economic considerations are different, and the fact that we're ordering, as I said, the least of us, we're ordering people in here, and I want them to be comfortable, so, I'm happy to revisit those things. Maybe what I'd like to see is, I think you said July 15th. Maybe we say until that, we'll revisit this at the July 15th
Yeah,
meeting and see where we're at.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
But if somebody refuses to take their temperature.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say at that point, I guess if the state's opening up more,
Yeah.
I mean, I'd have a problem of saying, well, we're gonna go against what the state's recommendations are, but if we're, at that point, I think, if you want the second floor to be
Then I
whatever
can do
you
what I
want,
want to do.
then
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
we probably lean to
Yeah.
whatever you want on the second floor after that day, but I think once the state says, you know, here's the rules by state standards, and if they're I think we can go on this lower floor, and,
Yeah.
and I understand
Yeah.
in your courtroom, you could have 15, 20, 30, 40 people, and you know, that's a closed environment,
Yeah.
so, yeah, I have a problem with that.
No, I appreciate us all being on the same page, and I think that's definitely the best way to go. Like I said, I just didn't wanna set policy and have 3 commissioners cursing me behind my back, and I'm glad I don't have that.
We'll do that anyway.
Yeah, can do that anyway, so, yeah, I don't know if we can maybe have you guys officially adopt that policy, so then I can put it in the order, and then you can say you adopted the order, so.
Let me ask one question, just to clarify for my guys tomorrow. So we'll continue doing what we're doing
Voluntary.
right now until Monday.
That's what I would suggest.
Until he ever gets the order, yeah.
You know,
Well, or I can get it tomorrow, we can say Friday if you want,
I can go
Well,
on
don't
this.
here's
My
my,
thought, once you give Marty a chance to get it in paper,
yeah.
here's my thought on that.
Dang.
I'm just, my opinion of it is,
just do what we're doing.
you know, we had, I thought clearly stated that we would take temperatures.
That's what I.
And
that's
I
one
thought,
of the
I thought
reasons
that we had clearly stated that, and I thought we said that we'd follow the health department's lead on this as far as the mask. I'm gonna tell you, just my opinion is, if, I don't care whether it's tomorrow, if somebody refuses to have their temperature taken, I gotta wonder why they don't want to get their temperature taken. So at that point, and under the conditions we in, that we are in right now, I think I would argue to the point, you don't come in.
That's fine, I can
I
have
mean,
an order ready
I
by
think
in case
that's
there's
where
more
I'm
in
at.
writing, but I can tell you.
Just tell me.
Yeah.
All he's gotta do is
Yeah,
tell me, cause
yeah.
his word is
I
good
think,
as
I think,
written, so it ain't gonna
I mean,
matter.
you know, cause, again, I think we have a responsibility for the safety of anybody that comes in this building, and I just can't imagine anybody saying, no, you ain't taking my temperature. I just can't imagine that. Common sense has got to kick in somewhere,
They're being tracked everywhere else around this
Yeah.
world, I
you
mean,
know, yeah.
that's a simple
So,
thing.
you know, that's,
All right, well, then
That's where
I'm
I'm
fine
at.
with that, we can say it's, you know, starting tomorrow, take it or not. Now, I have,
I'll make a motion to, whatever we gotta do to accept Judge Mount's recommendations of everyone gets their temperature taken, and everyone at this point wears a mask in public areas, so.
let's,
And do we need to put a date on it, cause I mean, I'm
I don't
sure
think you should.
if you're gonna put a date on something, or.
well, what I'll probably put in there is until further order, but we can not put a date on it, but say, you know, you guys can change it at the meeting at any time, invite me or not, I guess, but, what I would suggest is we put it back on the agenda for around the 15th.
The only issue I have, and I said it already, is that if the state comes in July 1st and says, here's the new recommendations, and they supersede ours, then I would hate to be saying we're different than the state.
Well, I think, I mean, Michelle, even if the economy opens up full bore, I think masks and temperature checks are still gonna be recommended.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be,
Yeah,
I mean,
Here's-
there's nothing
Hey,
is set
Longhorns,
for all
everything else,
anyways.
2 tables
Here-
away from somebody.
here-
Might be more important.
here's what
now
I'm
than ever,
gonna,
'cause everybody's backing
here's what I'm
off.
gonna recommend on this, on his motion, and is instead of it reading Judge Mount's recommendations, let it read Judge Mount's order.
And the recommendations of the health department.
And the recommendation of the health department, but, it'll be on an order from the judge.
By the order.
Or by the order of the judge,
Yeah.
then I think that
And that's
helps
fine.
you.
Hey, you know what?
And
And the buck stops here, I got no problem with you guys saying that's what the judge ordered us to do, just don't say that's what the judge ordered us to do, and I told him not to do it.
But I will say this, so I've got a motion, do I hear a second? I'll make that unanimous, based on that, but I will say
I
this
thought
too.
you was an auction there for a minute.
All habits, all habits, I got a motion, let's go. You know, I will say this, and I will go this about what Mike said there a minute ago, and I'm just like you about the state's orders, but folks, I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen, and Judge, the states, the federal government's doing it now, I feel like. They're passing a lot of things down to the states, saying, okay, you know, you guys kind of handle that. And I think at some point, the state is gonna look to local, governments and say, this is your baby, you rock it, you do what you want to with it.
And that's kind of
But,
what the
and they're
Supreme
gonna put a lot more of this on us.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have different places, it's gonna have different policies and procedures.
Yeah.
And, there's nothing we can do about that except try to do what's best for our community. And that's what I'm looking at right now, so
I think so.
I'm good with that.
Like I said, the lease, we're here to protect the lease stuff.
Before we go on, just for, I know manpower wise, I have over here, are we deciding on this order, we're gonna let them go out another door?
I think on this,
Just
no.
strictly just on the mask.
Just on the mask,
I need to know
yeah, and I
whether
think-
the manpower
I
wise.
will say this, I think your idea of going up one staircase and down the other, and quite honestly, I think this one ought to be the exit.
Maybe.
Come
My only
on.
thing about, if we've got the same policy in the whole building, I'm fine with it, doing it the other way. My only reason to use this as the up is that way, if we weren't temperature checking everybody, they could see somebody going up. But I can do it any way you want, but if you wanna make that part of it.
No, I think that's a different story.
Yeah.
But I think the one-on-one, I
Yeah.
think, you know, you don't pass somebody, so.
And to add to this too, whenever we determined earlier in the week that we were doing the temperature checks, I did post an important notice on the entryway of the courthouse, and I had instructions on there that if you're a patron, there's a list at security that's got, and we made it real easy. Marty helped me a couple weeks ago. We've got a list of every department number on there. We've got instructions that said you either refuse to be tested for your temperature or you have had a temperature. Please contact the department to conduct your business remotely that you're interested in. I've got on there for employees, if they get denied access because of a temperature, please contact your supervisor. So I have made that very plain, that if someone's returned out the door, that they've got instructions.
So do we need to send a letter to the elected officials that are refusing?
I think it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
I just sent it to everybody.
Send a message.
Anybody's coming in, so.
I know, but I mean,
They
it
should
sounds
already
like a
know that, they
handful
say
or
that, but they should
a
already
couple
know
people
that.
that,
I can just.
Can
pop in
you
your
clarify,
Yeah, when I get
public spaces, so like if there's an office that deals with the public face-to-face and can't be less than 6 feet apart, or their desk is less than 6 feet apart from another employee, are you gonna, is that, what are you requiring?
I feel like public spaces is any place that is in the hallway, in the, you know, the bathrooms, the stairways. Also, any office, I think that has the glass, and most of them does now.
Separators.
If you've got a separator for glass up there, I think at that point, you know, if they walk up to the glass and pull their mask down because they can be heard a little bit better, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
But I think if you're in a situation where you're in an office that does not have a glass up the barrier up there, I think at that point you would be required to have your mask on. Inside the offices, I'm kind of gonna be, piggyback off the judge here a little bit. You know, if you're inside one of these offices here and you're within, you know, you're 6 foot, apart from each other, I don't know that you would have to have a mask on at that point. But if you get up to go out into the hallway or out to lunch or whatever, I think, again, I'd piggyback off what the judge said, you should have a mask on as you went out in the hallway and exit the building, and when you come back and enter the building. It's just, I think it's pretty simple, you know?
Perfect.
And,
What I'll do is I'll get an order together first thing in the morning, I'll send it to you and send it to you. I will say, I did talk to Dr. Rogers 5 minutes before I walked down here, and I told Michelle, I said, I don't want you to feel like I'm pulling rank on you, but I want to be able to tell him he's 100% says he strongly recommends that the policy applies to employees.
okay, okay.
So that's what we'll do.
Good, so let me get it clear, because we'll be the ones that has to enforce it. So, as verbal order,
Yeah, that's fine.
as of 6 o'clock this evening, Judge Mound has ordered, with your all's agreement,
Mhm.
that no one enters the building if they're not temperature checked, and if they're not wearing a mask,
Yes.
Yeah,
and if they fail any of those questions.
right, yeah, there's some quick screen
I
questions.
would say face covering, cause like,
Face covering.
there's some who have the shield, which is fine, or.
Yeah, and, I agree with her,
We
yeah,
provide shields for any
yeah,
employees that.
yeah.
And we're offering to the public?
I'm gonna try to have special ones there, but they'll be like painter style masks is what they'll be. You know what I'm
Anything's
saying?
better than nothing.
And I agree with that, I think
And
that's,
if I'm hearing right, they really don't have to put them on unless they get within 6 feet of somebody.
Well, if they come in the door, we're
No.
gonna say you have to have this mask on before you can proceed.
yeah.
I know,
But here's-
we were talking a minute ago about, go ahead.
Here's my thinking about public spaces is you got somebody who walks in and they're not within 6 feet of somebody, but they cough on the elevator buttons, or they cough on the banister.
Yeah.
Or they're sitting down on the bench out there, and nobody's within 6 feet of them, but they sneeze. Somebody comes back behind them 10 feet away from them, and that's, you know, so.
I'm gonna be difficult. We're sitting here talking about this, and 2/3 of the people in the room ain't got a mask on.
Sure.
Social distance.
So, I mean, we either gotta do it or not.
That's
I mean,
right.
and your theory of it's gonna cough on something ain't working in this very room
That
we're
is
talking
true.
about.
No, that is true.
We either gotta put them on, wear them, or not.
Yeah.
If we're gonna do that,
No, I'm fine.
we gotta be, we don't
Come and go in
have.
public space, and office holders can make their own decisions within their own offices, and
Yeah, I
I'm
think,
gonna wear them in my courtroom.
So if somebody walks in, they're gonna put a mask on, if they won't put a mask on, out the door.
And if they refuse, then it'll be contempt and also, trespass at that point.
Could be trespass.
I don't, okay.
I mean, there's some enforcement, you know, you never want to set
and again,
policy.
I think, and again, that's, you know, that sounds probably a little far-fetched
It
on
does
what
to
he's
me.
saying, but I think what he's saying
Here's
is.
the issue though,
Yeah,
is this,
is-
if it's either all or none for us.
Yeah,
because we
and that's what I'm saying, that's what,
halfway do something.
yeah, that's what
I
I'm
got it.
saying. I think with the
I'm
judge's
gonna be-
order and,
I'm
you
gonna be a
know,
little difficult. We're saying you can go to your office and not wear it, well, you can spread it all over your office. And then when you get up and walk out in the hallway, you're spreading it again.
I think,
I'm gonna go with, I can't agree with this. I think we'd, have them a mask if they'll wear it. If they're gonna be in the hallway, they've gotta stay within 6 feet. I'm going too far.
I think.
You know how the law is black and white, the law. I can't.
There's a law that says they have to have these things on?
At his order.
Well, if you're gonna be in.
Well,
here,
that's,
step
okay,
over.
I just
okay,
asked
but
him-
he's asking for our permission.
Yeah.
I think expect everybody to wear a mask constantly. It's a good idea, but I think if we keep the 6 feet distances, I think that's enough.
you're gonna if you're gonna suck through a mask all day long, you're gonna be calling EMS because you're gonna hyperventilate.
You gotta vote on it, I ain't gonna go that far, I'm not ready to go that far, I don't think we get the very people in this room to do it.
Here's my issue again, that's why I wanted to clarify.
And that's why I'm here to tell you
We
what
have to
I
treat everybody the same. If we're gonna let somebody in and don't want their temperature taken, you see what I'm saying, then everybody, we ain't gonna be able to say you're not allowed entrance.
Well, I'm not for making them wear a mask. I'm for offering a mask, but if they'll stay the 6 foot distance, I'm good.
You tell me what you want, that's
That's
all I
what
ask.
I want, that's what I want.
Tell me what you want.
That's where I am. And everybody know where I am real
I
quick.
thought you were the other way. I thought you were saying they need to have them on all the time.
They were.
No, I thought that's what you were saying.
No, I'm not for making them wear them all the, I think we should, but to force it, I think we're gonna run some really big problems out here. I think with ourselves, even.
Well, here's the problem we have is like if somebody comes in and we got a judge's order that says you're not allowed to enter the building unless you have your temperature taken or a mask on. And somebody says, well, I ain't doing that, I'm going in anyway. Well, see, that puts our guys and gals in the
And I don't
position,
wanna
what do we do? You see what I'm saying?
And I'm not for putting your guys in.
I guarantee you,
We're gonna have more trouble with a mask than we will attention.
I've been to several places, and there's always a Clarksville Police Department, there's Jeffersonville Police Department, Louisville Police Department. If they have problems, you don't come in. I mean, I hope it never gets to the point where you have to put a handcuff on somebody. But if they don't understand, you can't come in here, this is the order. I mean, I don't like things either. I mean, just like curfew that are not in Louisville, 9 o'clock is supposed to be a curfew. You're off the street, you can be arrested. You know, no way of saying buts about it. I wear a mask when I have to. I mean, when I run the EMS run, I go in somebody's house and I don't know who they are, I wear a mask. I mean, because I'm in close confinement, but when I'm around my family, I don't wear a mask. And when I'm, walking in and out of here, I don't want anybody within that close to me. I mean, so I don't want, I like the 6 foot rule, but like I said, that's my personal opinion. But if I want to have access to this building and that's the rule, I'll abide by the rule if I want to come in here.
I'll abide by everything but making them wear a mask.
In the grand scheme of things, it's somewhat short term. I mean, the courthouse has been shut down for how long? So if they really needed something, can they not just do it by mail or wait another month?
That's why I said if I choose not to do it, then I won't come in here.
Just won't come in.
Here's where I'm at with it, and John, I kind of follow along with you to a certain degree, but here's my point. We have our health director telling us that, we have our health department telling us that, and what they're saying is the mask should be on in the public out here. The people inside here, again, and I know what you're saying is, employees is probably not gonna wear them behind the desk in their office, but in their domain. But if you're in the public hallway or the bathroom or the stairwell, you need to have your mask on. I think that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
And I think I'm gonna follow what they recommend. If we've got our health director here in Scott County and our health department recommending that, I think for us, I think it's a no-brainer not to
Well, I think
do that. And,
to piggyback on that is that if you're in your office space there, you're gonna keep
I'm
your
the only
stuff
person
wiped
sitting at my
down.
desk, yeah.
You're gonna have your stuff wiped down. I do it. I use hand sanitizer 100 times a day.
so I do too.
Now, the other thing is, there's a risk from employee to employee, and we want to minimize that, but at the same time, a lot of people will walk in this building and they'll walk to their desk and they will be the only person who's sitting at their desk for 3 hours, and then they'll go to lunch, then they'll come back. And they're the only person in their personal space, so. Whereas everything else is.
In the short run here, I don't have a problem with it. I think, if somebody doesn't wanna come in here, if I don't choose to wanna come in here, then I'll stay outside.
So, okay.
So.
And I think,
So where are we at? I can say you guys.
yeah,
I'm a no on
He's
the
a no.
mask.
He's a no.
I'm a no on the mask.
So does that change your vote?
I reckon it does if it's all or none.
Well, and
the
that's,
motion and the vote.
the motion was to follow the judge's order, of, that people coming into the
Face
courthouse would have face coverings and, temperature checks. And, at that point, you know, I'm gonna stay with it. I'm gonna stay with that, I'm gonna stay with that and, so, you know, and I think, but again, I'm just, and you may be right, but I think, at that point, I think, I guess I'm gonna argue on an err on the side of safety. Again, I think, if I'm confronted with it, I think my easy answer is the health department says this is their recommendation, the Scott County Health Director, and the judge ordered it. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I think at that point, I'm okay with that, so.
I'm with everything but ordering them to wear the mask. I'm all for giving the mask, hoping they wear it. I think we're gonna run into things we just aren't gonna wanna run into when we get into that order.
Let me make a suggestion.
Okay.
You're all saying the same thing, I don't mean to be pushy, you said it 3 times. Is there a vote?
We already
There
voted.
was.
We did
Not
report,
done.
yeah.
Okay, so
Done?
now.
I wanna make sure you.
I'm retracting my vote.
Yeah.
We're
Okay,
done.
now,
Okay.
but we already made a vote and a motion, so now, what we've got here is that motion included both items, the temperatures and the face mask. John says he's not for the face
And
mask,
he votes
So-
no.
He votes, I vote no.
but he seconded that motion, and I've got a unanimous vote on that.
I
So that's
retract.
action that's already been taken.
I'll second it.
All right.
Okay, so.
I'll make the motion again. Let's
Okay.
just clear the air. I'll
All
make the
right,
motion
now, who's
again.
gonna second it now? We're just gonna retract that motion and vote and everything, and then start all over again?
I'm good with that. And the motion, that Mike is making is basically to follow the lead of the health department or county health director and the order of the judge, correct?
Yeah.
And,
So you rescinded your original motion,
Yeah,
you're gonna
I'll
make it again?
I'll make it
Okay.
again. Same thing.
and it will read that, face coverings and temperatures will be mandatory inside the public.
And questions,
And what?
answer questions, there's like 3 or 4 questions.
Yeah, and it will be in the public domain in the courthouse, in the hallways, stairwells, et cetera. And I will second that.
Okay.
I will second that.
Vice second, and then the vote is 2-1.
And John will vote no to that? I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
That's okay. And, but yeah, I think.
Clear.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why I wanna clarify
I
again,
want to clarify.
because like I said, we're gonna be the ones on the front lines having to do it.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
If somebody comes in and they refuse to have their temperature taken, they're denied access. If somebody comes in, they refuse to wear a mask, they're denied access. If somebody comes in and they refuse to answer questions, they're denied access.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah.
No matter if they're an employee or a patron,
And I will go,
Or an elected official.
yeah.
or an elected official.
And I will go back to say, we'll go back to what.
Can I ask what the
Mr.
questions are?
Yeah, there, you have, so you had certain symptoms.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably, just the basic ones are, do you have any,
Here, I've
have
got,
you been experiencing any signs or symptoms of COVID, which include, fever, sore throat, coughing? Have you been exposed to COVID in the last 14 days? We really don't ask, have you traveled out of the country, because it's in every country by now.
I've got them in writing here, that's fine.
We've been using the one that they recommended, so.
And here, I'll send this down to you tomorrow in a better format, but the questions I'd like to see is, have you had a fever higher than 100.4 within the past 72 hours? Have you suffered from a sore throat, chills, cough, vomiting, diarrhea, nausea, or loss of sense of taste or smell within the last 72 hours? Are you awaiting COVID test results, or have you received positive results, or have you been ordered to quarantine? And have you been exposed to anyone who's been diagnosed within the past 2 weeks?
That's good.
As far as I'm concerned, I understand asking the employees that every time they come in. We could make that a standing order that the employees report that to their supervisors rather than.
And I think, didn't we not do that?
I think you
That
have
said,
that.
I think we did that because we said, you know what, if you have a family member
I
or
think
a
you have
neighbor,
that.
or you're an employee and you've been around somebody, it's your obligation to go to your, department head and say, hey, look,
I think
I
you
was
have
just
that.
around somebody. And I think we done that the last meeting, did we not? And
Yeah,
so,
so
I think,
insofar as asking
so them
questions-
questions as far as the employees, I think you wouldn't have to ask them every day, I think that would be their job to do
They've
that.
had a directive to their
supervisor.
lead person, and
Yeah.
they know what the rules
Yeah.
are.
I can't understand why you're confused.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that's why I just wanna make it clear. Like I said, it's whatever you all wanna do. I
All
don't.
right, I'm gonna throw out a snowball question here. Just during courthouse hours.
That's, I mean, that's all I really care about, because that's when we're gonna have most people here, and
Yeah.
then you guys, you know, it's like, I don't wanna substitute my judgment for anybody else's, except when I absolutely have to, and so, that's why I'd say, you know what, if the assessor or the auditor wants to say, by God, my employees are gonna wear masks, then that's her decision,
That's,
you know?
yeah.
You know, if you guys wanna say, well, we're gonna hold meetings, but I don't care if people wear, you know, that, it's after hours, that's.
So where I go with that, cause after hours, his guys.
His security's not out there anyway, right,
So-
right.
So, that's what, I just wanna clarify that, so that I don't wanna get somebody in trouble and Jerry come in and arrest everybody in the.
Well, he's looking to do that.
Cause nobody has a mask on.
He's looking to do that. Now, I get,
So we can fill the jail.
right, yeah.
But anyway, that's,
Yeah, no, that's an excellent question. As far as I'm concerned, you know, we're looking.
after 5 o'clock or
After
4.
4:30, when it's closed, if you guys have your own business in here, you set your own policy.
Okay, that's, I just didn't
Cleaning
want
some
to.
lines around behind us.
I would, and I would ask, I guess the public, to please be patient and understanding, because folks, I'm gonna tell you, I've had an opportunity to hear, some things this week, and, I don't think you're gonna see normal again for a good while.
Yeah.
And, so, you know, I think it's gonna be learning stages, getting back to what we considered normal, if we ever get back to that in the next, if we do, I see it being a year or two down the road. And, you know, things is coming back
Well, it's
slowly,
like,
but
you know,
it's still not gonna be normal. And,
You know, we're all used to, you know, I think one thing that's always gonna be, there's gonna be things we're never gonna, you know, tricks I'm learning that I'm gonna keep. And one thing I'm thinking is, you know, a year and a half from now, 2 years from now, I get up and I feel crummy and I've got a sneeze and a cough and an ache. And, you know, most of us say, you know what, I don't feel that bad, I'm gonna suck it up and go into work. Well, you suck it up and go into work, and it's not COVID, but you just made 6 other people sick, you know. Stay home, whether it's COVID or not. So I think a lot of those things, yeah, we're never going back.
yeah.
Now, I wanna make clear too, that, this is courthouse only.
Yeah,
The other county buildings, it's a different issue.
County
right?
buildings are your guys, I have nothing to do with that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yep. All right, thank you guys very much, I appreciate it, congratulations to those of you who were successful yesterday, and, I look forward to continuing to work with
One
you.
of us had a little harder road than the
One
other
of them
one,
did,
but you
one of you had
know.
to spend some money.
Not
One of you-
to,
one
not
of you
to
had
say
to-
anything, you know.
One of you had to spend some money, the other did.
I was still out at 12:30 last night picking up signs.
Me too, me too. Well, I seen you. Yeah,
And I
thank
still
you.
got some.
Yeah. Again, thank you for that. And,
Yeah.
Again, we appreciate everything that you guys do.
We'll start, tomorrow morning as soon as the courthouse opens.
I'll try to get in here 7:45 before any of the employees get here. Park my car in your spot.
There you go.
Slash my tire.
All you know, that's the first thing going in.
Kind of on the same thing, but not on the same thing. I spoke to Tammy this morning, oh, I'm sorry.
Can I pull him
Yeah,
out?
We've got 2 different funds that, and we really need to know what we're thinking about, what we need to send to this fund to be reimbursed by COVID, we need to send to this fund, and I'm glad Jessica's here. Because we have actually submitted some things to Jessica for reimbursement for COVID, and that's on the federal level, correct? Jessica?
Yeah, one for state and one for federal.
Okay, so, and then the new, disbursements there, it all covers the same things.
And it
So-
can't be double billed, so to speak, so I think, I've got conversation to be had tomorrow with Jackie Clements, who is one of our advisors from the Association of Indiana Counties. And of course, everybody's got some type of COVID relief, and there's a lot of things coming down, the pipe. If it's already been appropriated, expenses that have already been part of your budget, you're not allowed to reimburse yourself for something that you've already planned to spend in this budget cycle. If it's above and beyond your normal expenses and it's directly tied to COVID, my understanding is that the FEMA pot can be dipped out of kind of first. You want to use it because the FEMA is a 75% reimbursement. Then you can pick up the 25% out of the new COVID monies through the CARES Act.
Okay.
Which for Scott County, the city of Austin, the city of Scottsburg, and Scott County have been given an allotment, so to speak. And the Scott County part, my understanding, my very premature, I guess, understanding of this is that in the Scott County, besides the cities, other units of government in Scott County can ask for funds that has been directly related to COVID. So there's a significant amount of money available that we could tap into. So for example, direct COVID-related things such as extra cleaning that has to be done in the courts due to COVID. We could possibly hire, through the end of the year, part-timers to make sure that they're able to clean those intermittent intervals that they need in the courts to keep that. If you need additional help through COVID, you know, or security on the, or the safety screenings on the second floor, if we get to where it's second floor only, or additional help here on this if it's COVID related. So I'm having a conversation more tomorrow on the sense of getting a better understanding about what we can do. But again, if it's in addition to, so once we realize, then we can start turning in reimbursement claims against that cost. So it's kind of first come, first served.
Here's the issue for us is this, because we've been doing this for the federal level, because we've been doing it since day one. We've been keeping track of everything and submitting it to Jessica. So what we'll do is what I'm getting from is just go ahead and continue to do that, and then what they don't accept, then we can redo it through the CARES Act.
Yes, but it will, anything that you submit cannot be funded by FEMA and turned around and submitted again for the other money, obviously, that's it. So 75%.
We haven't submitted anything. I
Okay.
talked to Toby earlier. He was confused because earlier in the game, the state had requested just a ballpark number from all the counties, and that's what we had gathered. We haven't submitted anything at this point.
Okay, because I know I think we turned in over $40,000 already.
Right, that was the number that Toby had given me, but that was just a rough ballpark. That didn't go any, that was just information from the state.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure who we needed to give the federal one to and who we needed to give the CARES Act to. We didn't want to, you know.
Right. So what our consultant had told us is that we want to try to use the FEMA funds first to get 75% of everything to that point where we tapped out in our allotment for FEMA.
Okay, well, good.
And then turn around and build a balance to the new CARES fund.
Okay.
And then anything we buy, like the temperature check machines, those type of things that are directly related to COVID, hopefully can be put in with the new CARES money. And then we can get reimbursement for those kind of things.
Okay.
And it'll probably be coordinated through the auditor's office, because there's no one department that's gonna be responsible. It's gonna be a county-wide thing, so.
So that's what we'll continue doing, that, and we'll continue to submitting it to Jessica, and then that's what is not.
And then she'll be working through us to try to, and then we'll keep them.
Right. When we get to that point of submitting forms, I'll send out forms because they're pretty extensive. And each item will have to have a form of its own for the CARES Act. Now, for the other, through FEMA, it's actually a grant portal. It's online. And whoever did your RPA should have access to that.
When do we start submitting this stuff?
As soon as we get a budget through council and the commissioners approve.
But Teresa and I'll have a conversation tomorrow with our consultant that's helping the counties take care of managing, you know, getting the groundwork laid so you can manage this. So we should hope have some more answers starting tomorrow.
Good, well, we're on the right page then, I just want to make sure we're.
Just collect the charges right now, yes.
Any paperwork, any supporting documentation, overtime is eligible, but you have to prove that's overtime for a COVID-related incident or matter. Or you have somebody out for precaution and somebody else has to pick up their time, then any documentation. The more documentation, the better, the easier it is.
We've been doing,
above
yeah, we've been keeping receipts, times, we're writing everything down, we're giving a detailed list of everything, so.
If you've had to spend extra due to COVID that wasn't appropriated already in your budget for that year, we want those expenses.
Right.
Yes.
Well, that's like the whole front of the jail we had to redo because of the COVID, you know, from keep people from coming in, so that was, we make sure we're submitting to the right, if you see what I'm saying, the right bills. Okay, that's it.
All right.
That's all I got.
Next up is the health department. Thank you.
Thanks, Sheriff.
So I just have a grant. We already received this grant, but they give us an extra $3,000 for COVID relief. And so this is our DEFA grant, through the Greater Health Foundation of Indianapolis, and so it is for our HIV clients. They provide food cards, they currently provide food cards, and food pantry items that we give out in our Austin office. So they've just given us an additional money of $3,000, and so it's just waiting for us up in Indianapolis.
All right, do I hear a motion to, allow her to collect $3,000, right? Is that,
It's a grant.
It's a grant, yeah.
From,
The Greater Health Foundation of Indianapolis.
okay, okay, yeah.
And it can only be used for the HIV services.
You've used them before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is,
They're
like
out
I
of
said,
Indy?
we got an initial grant this year for $4,000, and then this is specifically for COVID relief. So if you have a client that got laid off, during this time, and they need help with groceries and things like that, then this extra $3,000 goes specifically for that.
all right, John makes a motion to allow, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I'll make that unanimous.
Did you guys have any questions for me?
Appreciate the text.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do appreciate that.
So, I do have a question, it's kind of, you know, you said that, why would the state change their guidelines of 14 days to 21 days?
So, they never had a definition of,
Well,
okay, sorry, go ahead.
Well, that brought up the second point was, the state never acknowledged anybody ever survived COVID. But now all of a sudden they want to tell local health departments, here's the guidelines, but we're not going to follow the guidelines, but you are. Because the state doesn't ever tell you anybody ever survived it.
Right, yes. And we've been asking for this definition for over a month. And so that's when we started releasing the number of people released from quarantine, because well, our
They
understanding,
survived.
right, was that if, you know, if you're off quarantine and you're doing okay and your symptoms are improving, then we're going to consider you recovered. But then the state has partnered up with, as you guys know, like IUPUI and different groups that do studies and data collection, and so it's called the Regent Street Institute. So they're the ones that come up with that definition. And so they don't make us use it, but if that's what this is the data they're gonna connect it to, we just thought it'd be more consistent to do that.
That's fine, but I just, like I said, I guess I want, it makes no sense, the state doesn't come in there and says, the only way we can show that person is not COVID related anymore is that, two positive, or two negative tests, and the tests are $200 a piece, and nobody's gonna pay for that.
Right.
So, nobody's gonna get the test, I mean, and I've known several people that's had COVID, and they've all went back to work after 14 days and 3 days of not taking medication and fever free, so.
Yeah.
I just found it kinda odd that the state tells us how to note those people, but yet they're not doing it,
Right.
so.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that they do that's
But anyway, I just wanted to get your take on that. So.
It's, I mean, it's nice now that there's a definition out there that's consistent, and so
it's
if
21
other,
days now.
yeah, so it's the number of people who have been tested positive, who, if they're not hospitalized, it's been at least 21 days since their positive test, and if they were hospitalized, it's been at least 21 days and 7 days from their discharge date. And then it also says, which is kind of confused people, that if you've been discharged from the hospital alive or deceased, but then it minuses, it subtracts the death at the end. So you have to look at it like a math equation.
Okay.
And if you miss that very last section where it says minus total deaths,
You come out
then
feet
it
first.
seems like, yeah. So that was a little confusing to people, but the deaths are not considered in the recovery.
Walking
They're
dead,
like-
isn't it?
So.
Alright, that's all I had.
Yeah, and like I said, the state's done a lot of things that we don't necessarily agree with and have been strange and have put a lot of the responsibility back at the local level, and then we have to answer to everyone's questions, but they don't give us the answers for it.
Yeah.
So, we're just as frustrated as everybody else, so we're just doing our best.
Sounds good, appreciate it.
Doing good.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thanks.
You too.
Ms. Jill, Highway Department update.
I have a letter for the detour, from Mr. Wessel from NDOT, and it's asking, for you three to sign it. I did talk to John after the last meeting and went back out and we looked. We are gonna make the unofficial detour our part of Weir Road to Boatman. It's approximately 1.4 miles. The other part, which I hope to meet with the mayor of Scottsburg tomorrow, will be Scottsburg Cities. So we're kinda cutting down on what would be our damage, road damage, which it's only gonna be closed from July the 6th to August 7th.
Just 30 days.
Yeah.
And it also looked like an easy way. I was really concerned about off Boltman where there's lots of room there. It's an easy turn, so I don't see any.
So
But my question is, why did we change it? Because we
Well-
first said we was going down South Lake, or down Lake Road to take West Lake Road over and come back up Boulder.
That's John's
At the end of the
district, that's
meeting,
John.
at the end of the
John
meeting, I asked
said
if
I
that
would
was
like
my
to go look
decision.
at it.
Uh-huh.
And we kind of agreed it was, and I went down and talked to Jill, because I knew she'd recommended this in the first place, and I thought, maybe we're missing something here. And after I talked to her, I believe she had the right path.
I asked him to drive it,
Yeah.
and he went
Okay.
that night.
Okay.
It's
No, I was just curious about it, I just wondered.
the best, I think, less traffic for us problem, and, easy.
They're holding that ditch on Boatman and Weir.
Is it?
I don't know. Curious.
We'll know.
Okay.
Did it if they do.
So,
So it takes all three of you to sign, and then it goes back to Mr. Wessel, and he'll pass it on to the,
I'm fine with it. There's
Yeah.
not, there's not a,
There's no
this,
good
this
one.
situation here, there's not a good,
Best of the
not a
worst.
good way either way.
yeah.
And the other part of that is that, I don't know how you're gonna get, truck traffic's gonna be on those roads, so, it's gonna happen. GPS will send them that way, or they're gonna send them the other way, so. And the state, to me, doesn't put enough good signage out on the interstate or towards Salem or anyplace else to go, hey, you can't go this way.
And I will send several emails pushing that to make sure they put as much signage up as they can. The next thing that I have is the lease for the paver and equipment, and all the pink. First of all, you have to have a motion to accept the lease agreement. Then the pink, tabs are for you to sign, Bob, except there's one in there that's for Mr. Houston to sign. And at the top of it, it says council. I don't know if I tabbed it a different color or not.
Where are we leasing? I'm missing something.
We bought a paver and the trailers to haul it and everything. We're just now, we don't have the trailers yet, but we did get the paver, and so now we've got to get the payment agreement going. And Teresa's kind of waiting on it too for the state to get it
Payment
turned in.
agreement, PAY payment,
Payment,
okay.
sorry.
and
Lease agreement.
this is something different on top then, right?
That's the trailers that goes with it.
Okay,
You
so
have to
all
sign-
of,
It's all
all
in one,
one
it's all in
package.
one agreement.
All right, then do
I'll make a motion.
motion made for me to be able to sign this agreement for the
So,
trailer and paver, and I'll second. Or you second, I'll make it unanimous on that.
And don't worry about anywhere it says print, just if you'll sign, I'll print and date it later. We are I'll talk while you're signing. We're looking at starting, some paving in your district, on, June the 9th, although now it's saying it's raining the 9th, 10th, and 11th, but anyway, we don't know yet, but I'll be putting something on Facebook pretty soon, and, they're coming back to help us run the new paver for a couple days, just to get some training. We did get our, striping machine in.
fantastic.
He is coming to train us. He was gonna come this week, but I'd rather wait till we get a road done and maybe train on that road. I will tell you that obviously we had a $10,000 budget for striping, and it was $10,000. So of course now there's no money to buy the paint pellets that go in it, but we might be able to move it from the restricted fund or something. We're still looking.
What are we striping?
Roads, just like hills, we
talking
get
about the
complaints. No.
Talking about center line?
Yeah, yeah. We used to have,
I think we did that.
yeah, we used to have, Chandler. That's all right, keep turning.
Yeah.
Chandler, what was his name? Tiffany Chandler's dad.
Not Squire.
Worked for the state highway,
No, that wasn't Chandler, it was,
that's her name.
okay, Mike Alfie, was it Alfie?
Alfie.
Mike Alfie.
Yeah, we used to have Alfie strike for us, and he quit, of course, several years
Well, you
ago,
did
and then our budget went down,
I
and
was gonna say there hadn't been on strike for years.
No,
there has.
no.
I mean,
I didn't think we
sometimes
did.
you can barely see it in the middle of the road the last
Yeah.
time we've done this.
actually, the last time we paid and had one strike was 6 years ago on Coffee Pot.
Yeah.
And they had to go back and
I think I've got everything.
redo
And,
it,
that's something definitely, good. So good for you.
so we'll see. We'll
Good
get
for
it
our
done.
citizens, I think.
Yeah,
I just like the edge.
and we could get into that, but again, we've gotta find the money for the
I just care what the edge, where the edge is, I don't care where the center is.
paint pellets.
That's where the other guy is.
Do you guys have anything else for me? I will say, I had a hour and a half, webinar today, and the gas is coming back up, the gas revenue. I mean, we are going to have a bad June for our MVH distribution, but it is, it is a little better in July than what they thought it was gonna be. So that was good news. I know we're still, and more stuff's happening now, but
I'll probably be down tomorrow when we get done unloading.
okay.
You talking about it?
You done?
Yes, I'm doing that.
Now, next is the addition of names to Veterans Memorial, Veteran Service Officer. Tom, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good, now,
Doing
it
all
won't
right.
take me long.
Okay,
All it is, we have those names to be added to the memorial,
uh-huh,
and I guess a few of them have been up there for 4 or 5 years. Then I've collected 3 or 4, and the cost is $120 for the first 4 letters, then $10 for every letter after that. So, whenever or however y'all want to do that,
So how much money you need?
I'd have to count the letters.
So is there
Do-
still space on the,
we
on
have-
the stones?
There's probably 10 or 12 names, is that right, Tammy,
Yeah, I'm
to go on there?
probably 12 to 14.
And you know, if you gotta, like, take your name,
Yeah.
you know, you're talking 7 or 8 letters, you know, it's $70 or $80, you know.
what, let me ask you this, is
we're talking about
is there any
$100.
monies in that account to do that with?
You have it in your budget. There's a $3,000 appropriation for the war memorial, or the Veterans Memorial out there. So we could go back and some type of order, see how much overall it's gonna cost. If it's gonna be within the 3,000, we can do everybody at this time. Then maybe we just need to analyze.
You said you got
the
12 people,
Yeah, 10 or 12, I
so
don't
if you
have
got
it.
12 and you're talking $100 a person, that's $1,200, so,
We should be,
you know.
Okay.
I mean, I could look at it, and maybe next meeting, bring it back to you, and tell you exactly what the cost would be.
I'd say,
You got it?
But we can enter here, you don't have to go to council, we
as
can.
long as you guys approve him to spend, to put the names up to the 3,000, we're good.
For it. I'll make a
Legacy,
motion, take care of our veterans.
Legacy Monument, who does that?
okay.
You know, Fuel used to do it, and he did it at a real reasonable price, or sometimes he would do it for free.
Let me ask you this, on legacy and I don't know who they are.
I think it's Mark Adams.
Okay, it may be, but everything will match what's already there, correct, as far as the etching?
I would
what,
ask that question.
yeah, let's make sure that everything's going.
Yeah, we don't wanna put it in a different font.
Different font or anything like that, I want to, you know, let's ask that question, can you
Yeah.
match what's there?
Yeah.
And, we want to keep it
I
looking the
think they
same.
do that by sandblasting.
Uh-huh,
Yes.
and, so, I mean, I just want to make sure that they will be
Oh,
able,
but it definitely needs to match.
Yeah. it needs
Yeah,
to
I don't
match
wanna
up,
start
so.
out something
Uh,
different.
So, John, you make the motion to allow him to not to exceed the $3,000.
I'll say.
I'll make that unanimous, yeah,
Okay.
and just make sure that they are gonna be able to.
Do I need to report something back to you, make sure?
Yeah.
Just send her a
Or to
bill.
Tammy, keep Tammy informed?
Just send her, yeah, just let her, just give her the bill when they get done and she'll pay the bill again.
I want you to come back, Tom.
Yeah, I don't know how long it will take them. I mean,
I understand,
I'll talk to them tomorrow, it might not be able to do it till next month or 2
Yeah.
months.
yeah, but at least you don't have to wait another 2 weeks to find out whether
Yeah,
you
'cause
can
I
get
got
it
a
done.
couple guys, Greg Ritchie, y'all probably know him. He's asked me a half dozen times, when you gonna get my name on there? Well, when I can.
Yeah,
And I've got another name I want you to check on too. A name.
Well, my name can't go on there. I was
No,
born and
I've had
raised in-
somebody contact me, I want to know.
I was born and raised in Scottsburg, but my dad had to take care of his mom and dad, so when I went in the army, I was in Clark County.
yeah, so
In Jefferson County, I don't want, cause they don't put you on there till you're dead.
there you go, there you go. I'm like you, I'm gonna hold out a while, if I can, you know.
Yes. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, next up is the 911 EMA Director Position. I know that, that happened at a time when my mother-in-law passed away, and, I wasn't able to sit in on the interviews, and so I'll just leave it in you guys' hands here to give me some kind of thoughts or lead way or whatever you wanna do here on that EMS, on the 911 Director and the EMA thing.
I'm gonna be honest, I just wanna, I think, to be fair to all four candidates, I think, you need to actually have a conversation with them, whether it be a phone or what, sit down to you and them and have a one-on-one or what, but I think it's fair, I think it should be, I don't think you should take what I say, because I may have a different opinion what John says, and I'm sure we do, but I think to be fair to the four candidates, I think you need to have that one-on-one conversation. I mean, that's my opinion, so.
And for me, I'm down to 2 people. I mean, if anybody wants to, I mean, you guys may not be, but if we're all down to 2 people, I think we'll send the other 2 people notice saying we're down to 2. But you guys, you're right, we all made 3 different thoughts here.
We've been there before too.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Then at that point, if that's what you would feel more comfortable with, I certainly don't mind doing that. Let's get me, nothing else, I'll set it up by telephone interviews or something like that. How's that? And, I'll get with you after the meeting and we'll try to do something in a timely manner here to be ready to
You're
go.
gonna do an interview, is that what?
And that's, yeah, I think that's what he's saying, and I'm okay with that, I'm okay with that, and, then then we can come
I
back.
think we
after-
can vote on, I think we can settle it next meeting.
Yeah, I think we could too, at that
And
point.
again, I wanna thank you for, doing what you're doing over there in the meantime, so, on both, and not just there, but DMA
Yeah,
as well, cause I know that still moves along as well, so.
okay. The MS Director's position, what's our thoughts on that there? I know that the posting comes down Friday?
Friday it closes Friday.
Yeah, and I know his last day is
Friday.
Friday?
Saturday.
Saturday, actually Saturday. I mean, I don't have a problem, and again, when we say his last day, he is still going to be here. I don't have a problem if you guys don't, and just contacting him and see if he will, I don't know why he wouldn't, just agree to sit tight for the next couple of weeks here. What do you think about that? Would you have a problem with that?
I wouldn't have a problem with it, but I don't think I don't think we can, I don't think I'd be comfortable forcing him or saying, I'm gonna force you or put you in a bad position here to say, I think you need to stay 2 more weeks, because he gave us 4 weeks, and I don't know what happened in that 4 weeks, but we, you know, so.
Well, let me try to understand, I guess, this here, and I've been thinking about this, is he, I guess I'm trying to figure out, is he's a director at this point, and, we want him to stay as a paramedic, but who signs off on, you follow my thought? I mean, is he hiring himself as a paramedic, or is he?
He's just stepping back, that's where he came from.
Should we hire him back, is your point, I think.
No, it's not as much as should we, is I'm just trying to figure out who would sign off on him being able to do it? Be us? Be us.
I
So
thought we already.
I'm okay for that. I'm all for that, but what I'm saying is I'm just trying to figure out legalities of it, is somebody's gotta say, okay, you gotta be, you know.
Well, I think we did that when we agreed to accept his resignation. We did. And for him to step back into that role, so
And I'm okay with that, I'm okay with that.
We officially did that, but I don't have a problem asking him, but I was asking him, I just don't want, I think on the flip side of it, because I've been in those positions before where I stepped back in a position and somebody wanted me to train that person and do all this other stuff, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that, that's not my position now. So in turn, I think I would ask him, and if he, accept, that's fine. If he doesn't, then I don't think we can hold that against him, but, I do know, and I know you had the same, I think you had the same conversation with Dr. Crosdale, about what he would suggest, and I'm fine with that as well, so.
Where I'll just disagree is I think we can tell him to do it. And I think we should tell him till we get our hiring process done. Because without it, unless we put somebody else in, we just got a ship out there with nobody guiding it at all.
I don't think you can legally force
I
somebody.
think we can. We can disagree, okay, but I think he's our employee, we can say this is your job.
But you're not being fair to him.
I didn't say it was fair, I'm saying we gotta have somebody running the place.
Well, my whole thing is, the man gave a 30-day notice, which is more than fair.
Yeah.
And we drug our damn feet, screaming and yelling for 30 days, and we haven't done anything.
I'm not disagreeing with any of that, but I'm just saying that we gotta have somebody.
I understand that, but you can't force a person to do something.
I disagree.
Well,
I'm not trying to be smart, I just disagree with you.
have some employees one time and see if you
I'm sure you did, my point's mine, yours is yours, we'll
That's
go
right.
from there. But I think we ought to tell him we need to extend it for a little while.
So.
That's, well, again, I'm all for asking him. If he does decline or he says no, then at that point, I think we're gonna have to regroup and do something different.
Yeah.
But I think, I think it might be a moot point if we just ask him, and, if he would be willing to continue until we,
That's something you can ask, and I guess I wanna ask a question then. What have we done for 4 weeks that we're just now closing the ad on Friday?
I can't answer that. What's
With the EMS position,
Oh,
we usually advertise longer for something like that.
For 4 weeks?
Well, we did the last time, we advertised for a month because it's just not somebody that you just locally picked up in this area sometimes. And then I sent you all a text a few weeks ago and asked for an extension, you all agreed, so I just am doing as I'm allowed to do.
And
Or I would've closed it a week ago, but I don't think what.
So we've advertised for 4 weeks?
Yes, I think 3.5 to 4 weeks, yes.
And broadened it out because that was what the text was about, that they broadened that out.
And I agree to that. Like I said, most of the time you get a 2 weeks notice, sometimes you don't get that, so.
So,
I think somebody needs to ask him then, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly don't have a problem asking him if he would do that. I mean, I can do that, you know, and if he don't, again, then we'll have to regroup here on something. You know, and I don't have a problem doing that. All right, that's what we'll do, and, what about the BZA appointment? Did you come up with a name?
I've got a name, I'll throw out there, Greg Gibson.
Greg would be a good one.
I'm good for that. I'm good with
Greg Gibson on Stoplight Liquors.
I'm okay with that.
that. Yeah, I am too.
Married to Pete West's daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be fine with him. That'd be great. You'll put
Now,
that.
he's already got another position, that doesn't make any difference, does it? He's over the, he's in the advisory board down to, help, is he on the advisory board?
EMS oversight?
Yeah, oversight, I think he's on, I'm pretty sure he's on the board, yeah.
EMS oversight.
And I'm okay with that, I just wanna make sure we're not getting,
Yeah, I think,
yeah, he's on the
yeah,
board.
I think
I think there is a Gibson on that.
yeah, I think
but-
he is exactly right, but that wouldn't be no conflict, would it?
Not in my opinion.
No, I don't think.
I'm okay with
Yeah.
it, throwing it out.
That's correct, yeah, so we gotta
So-
make a motion or do?
Yeah, let's do a motion.
Yeah, I'll just make it.
I'm unanimous. Mike?
I'm sorry, you already asked him, I've talked to him?
Yeah, I've already talked to him.
So he was, and he was
He's
agreeing?
fine.
Okay.
So you,
Uh,
I'll get, well, I actually,
monthly claims consideration, for May of 2020, and I'm assuming this is it here, the monthly ones, yeah. Has everybody had a chance to look these over?
yeah, I'll make a motion to accept them.
I'll second.
Unanimous. And, then the other is, payroll claims,
Well, actually, I added, you have another item on there for primary election worker claims. Did I get you guys a good copy of that one?
yeah, you did, so,
And that was just kind of missing in order to, process this a little faster for election workers, because, you know, it was a difficult time to get people to work during, you know, this type of health crisis situation and whatnot. And we could get these out on Friday if you guys would approve these, $20,220
to run the
for
election.
election workers, this primary process.
Does that cover the food cost and all too? I mean, seriously, does
Now,
that,
this would just be the labor.
just the labor?
Yeah,
So then
she'll turn in
she'll turn in
claims.
claims for food
This is
costs.
just to pay her poll workers.
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
That's $20,220.
All right, well, second, we're gonna make it unanimous, John seconded. And,
I'm glad we didn't have anything to do with the, you know, some of the notes I heard about the food, so I'll stay out of that.
yeah, me too, me too.
But it wasn't us.
Yeah, me too. And then,
And not say anything bad about the place
This
it
is,
was, because I eat there quite often, I've never had a bad problem, so.
this is, your part on the other one, right? We got two payroll claims here. One is for State Board of,
That's your monthlies and
Yeah.
then just, yes.
yes, and this is, one for
Yes,
you.
payroll
Yeah.
ratification.
Payroll ratification here. Motion,
Yep.
second,
Second.
and, make it unanimous. Did, you signed this one, didn't you?
Nope.
Okay, I thought I passed it that way, but I can't remember which way I passed it.
Unless this is the one I signed.
Might have been. And consideration of the minutes for, May 6th, and 20th of 2020. Do we have, everybody had a chance to look over the minutes?
Yeah. I'm
You
good
don't,
with
I've
that.
got a copy here.
So I did sign it.
Okay, so you got that one, you get this one, you didn't
I
get.
don't know.
I'm
Which
sorry.
one is
I'll
it?
make a motion.
I'll second.
And I'll make it unanimous on the
We're not
minutes.
sign on this thing.
Very back page, very back, and on the blue one, I believe it is. Or red one, yeah. Okay, down to the bottom, John. All right, on that note, we have run out of things on the agenda. So, this is the part where I say, has anybody got something they wanna bring up? I knew, how'd I know to look your way? Go
I
ahead,
thought she talked before the meeting.
go ahead.
I did. Ben was wondering about, a vehicle that was safe to drive.
I did understand
That was drivable.
yes, I understand that, he did say to me that that vehicle was, kind of a shady, I don't know.
shady.
not
Is it
not
junk or
safe.
what's the deal?
I hear it's junk.
The
Yeah, I
one
hear
over
it's
here,
Kind of dangerous junk,
Yeah.
because
have they had anybody look at it? I mean, the highway department, anybody?
I think the highway
Okay.
department's looked at it, and I think well, actually, no, that's the,
I think the recommendation was take the radiator cap off, put a new car underneath of it. I think that's what it was,
you got it.
basically, so.
But I think
Take
you
the
got-
tires off because they did put
Yeah.
4 new tires on there,
Yeah.
What
but
else
the
we
brakes
got?
aren't any good.
I don't know
The
what else we got
steering is
out there right now that,
Any thoughts on what you, anything
Huh?
else? Any other
you don't
thoughts?
have nothing? What about your vehicle? You using it much? Okay.
well, I mean.
Just
why-
asking for a friend.
Well, we're right back where we started. Brad.
Yeah, and I think we're probably gonna have to, I know the sheriff is actually, trying to help him out some and find
Yeah.
something there, but I don't know if that's
Well,
gonna take
we're the
place.
same boat with, with Andrew Campbell.
I agree.
Andrew Andrew's,
He,
I actually saw his vehicle, and it's actually a shame that we have his personal vehicle looking like that, and it's for
Yeah.
county work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's full of electronic stuff, I mean,
Yeah.
and that's just not right, I mean, I'm sorry, but we need to find him a vehicle of some sort, and.
So we think Jerry might have something, or?
Jerry's looking, for
Okay.
something, but right at this moment, we don't have nothing not locked down. But I think he is searching that web out there
So
too.
where's the blue vehicle that the corrections are turning in? Cause that's a four-wheel drive as well, isn't it? It's just a newer model.
Well, I don't know that, maybe we need to research that and find that out though, and, you know,
Yeah, check on that thing.
yeah.
I do have one other issue.
Okay,
There was an issue with a new stockade fence that was erected by a landowner on East Cutshall Road.
Mm.
And I had a good conversation with that landowner last week, and she indicated that I gave her Jill Baker's, phone number so that she could talk with Jill and get somebody back out there to show her where she could place the fence.
Center of the road.
Yes, she was actually in the ditch line, I
Mhm.
believe. And it was.
Is this the-
It
very
was off of
poor
Leslie
line
Road,
sight.
yeah.
We did follow up with that, and I spoke with her as well. And they were going to have it removed one section by Sunday. And I believe there was a call to the sheriff's department that very same day, and the fence is not removed. Your road boss did go there this morning to the door, but the gentleman would not come to the door.
okay.
So,
And again, it is, I think, been deemed as a safety factor out there.
Exactly.
And, so I think at that point, whatever,
It's moved.
whatever we need to do, just move forward.
I think, doesn't the attorney need to send him a letter?
I think so, I think,
Move
yeah,
it,
I think,
or we will.
I think at that point, I think it would probably,
Certified.
if need be, and again, we can try to find,
I will try to work up background information and send that on to Bob,
Oh.
and I will CC all of you.
Let me make a suggestion here. I don't think her people in a controversial situation like this is becoming, I guess, that her people need to be involved in this.
I agree.
And they don't need to be knocking on a door going, hey, when you gonna tear the fence down or whatever. I think they need to be out of that. I think, at that point, I think it comes Bob Houston or somebody taking care of it from that point, or you can get in that white vehicle and drive out there.
And leave the vehicle there, that's a good idea.
yeah.
Trade it. No, as you go by that fence,
Just-
we really need to work on Marty getting, an ordinance, or a permit system for logging.
Yes, we
We
do.
had a lot of trouble with logging this weekend. I've talked to her about, also having it in her plans that a new property build has to come to her and then come to us to get the correct culvert. We've got 5 culverts on that small section of Goshen Road right now that has to be replaced, that 3 of them were new builds and didn't get the proper culvert. So, then we have to send them a letter telling them.
I agree, I think that ought to be in your permit stuff, that
It would,
That
it would save a lot of
if
trouble.
you're putting a roadway
When
into your.
I have been getting new builds, I have.
She has been having call me, but
Yeah.
it needs to be in writing.
Yeah, that's why I said these are,
what-
So they're putting them in without even, they're doing it on their own, they're doing it all.
Or I've been asking, I said, do you already have a driveway into that property? Yes. I said, okay, so you've already got a culvert there? Yes. I said, is the culvert working? Well, yes. Okay.
And, yeah.
But that
Well,
could be
and-
an 8-inch pipe, I mean, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, I think, yeah, I thought we had, I actually thought we had an ordinance that says that they had to be, what, 15
That's
inch?
ours, it has to be 12 by 30, but
12 by 30.
it's not in black and white.
So it's not in, okay, yeah, we probably need to think about that. And, again, with that being said, I think it needs to be,
12-inch.
well, I think,
We have to decide. We have
yes,
to go with
yeah,
that
because I
decide.
mean, they may go out and say, no, this needs to be,
It could 18,
yeah, it could be whatever. So, yeah, I think that would be something for them to
How deep the
look
ditch
at.
is.
but nothing small, yes.
Yeah, nothing smaller than 12.
Okay.
All right. Anything on your part?
I'm gonna stay shut.
Anything on your part? All right, the only thing I'm gonna say is, again, the food box truck rolled in again today. We gave out 550 boxes today. We got 550 boxes to give out tomorrow. We'll be back up at Austin, and, I'm hoping that, that's, helping some people out. We gave out, so in the last 2 weeks, we'll have gave out 2,200 boxes of,
You know that,
food.
the boxes were packed a little different this time?
Yes, it was, yeah.
One bag of chicken and bacon this time.
Yeah, I've seen that, so,
Can we
and,
talk about the meal?
yeah, I'm not, got anything locked down on this, but I will say this, that we also have an opportunity to, maybe, get, some milk, delivered in here, and, semi-load of milk, maybe 2 semi-loads of milk, and, would be distributed. It's the same thing, it's, the farmers, families, and, as you know, a lot of farmers have been dumping their milk, because they had nowhere to get rid of it, and, through this program, it's at least allowing the farmers to a place to sell their milk without dumping it, and, we're probably, I'm 99% sure that this is gonna happen right now, and then we're looking at probably about 8,000 gallons of milk that's gonna be coming to Scott County probably.
What time is tomorrow? I'm sorry.
Tomorrow, the truck will be there at, should be there by, I think, 11:30. I think they've actually got on there, on, Austin, 12:30 till 2 or something like that. But I would almost, you know, if the
The
truck's
last
there,
week they started
yeah.
half hour, 45 minutes.
You know, and I tell you, I'm gonna say this, I wanna thank, you know, of course, I wanna thank these 2 guys right here, they've been there every time, but I wanna thank the volunteers that's been helping us. I mean, we've had, you know, I know the fire department's been out there, Scottsburg, you know, we've had Mayor Amick and Mayor Hawkins both been there, we've had, the highway department come out, and we've had, people, not so much, I don't think, or the, Scott County Reserves, some of them's been out there, and, the people from the, Jennings Township Fire Department, Community Corrections, I think, have been involved. Everybody, and I tell you what, 550-pound boxes, and the,
It's a workout.
we broke our record today, I think, and about, you know, we started out, the first truck was about an hour and a half, and the second truck, we got rid of an hour and 15 minutes. Well, today was 45 minutes, and we gave out 550 boxes, so, you know,
Our traffic controls.
we all,
All the way. I will say, and this is almost a plea to the public. You know, there's people ready to fight out there when somebody cuts in front of them and all that silliness, and once we get them packed in, it's almost hard to tell who's in line and who's not. You get them in the best you can.
and,
So the public's gonna have to understand a little bit, it's not a total science here to get them in straight in as we want.
yeah,
We're getting them in. And my biggest concern today was quite honestly getting them off the highway. It was scary out there.
and that's something that we're working on every week. We learn, it's a learning curve, and we'll continue to learn, and, but, I tell you, it's amazing, it never ceases to amaze me how in Scott County, people will rally to help other people, and the people that's come out to help in this situation, to distribute it and get that off that truck is, I mean, you know, for a small community, you know, when you ring that bell for somebody to come, it seems like people just rally around anything to help, and I'm very grateful and appreciative that I live in a community like that, just to be honest with you, so.
I will say one last thing on that is that, and I don't mean to diminish anybody that comes to every one of these, but if you I mean, my plea to the public would be, if you've received it once or twice or whatever, you know, there's other people out there that are getting turned away, and give it a break or a week and then come back the next week or something, because there are people that we are turning away now, and I mean, it's, those people are just as needy or as the people that are getting it every time that we're giving it out. So, not saying that we don't want to give it to people, but I think, there's a.
We want to help everybody.
Somebody taking abuse.
I drove by at 9:30 this morning, they were already lining up.
Yeah, right.
So that gives you an idea of,
Honestly, we give to a single lady, and she halved her box. So that might be something
Well,
too, that some of these.
Yeah.
I take a box to some elderly people and they've split their boxes
she
too.
called. Yeah, she
But-
was like,
But I mean, I don't have, I'm sure you guys have seen it too, but I had a girl absolutely crying,
Yeah.
so.
And then,
one girl walk in with her wagon.
Yeah.
That amazed me.
I put a
She was
box in.
walking down the highway.
I put a box in that
You
wagon
know
today.
she needed it.
I put a box in that, pulling the red wagon in there today, and folks, I'm telling you, is again, as I said a while ago, I don't see what we consider normal for a good while yet. I think that we're in this for the long haul, and I think as we go forward, I think you're gonna see more and more people. It's probably the needs are gonna get greater instead of less, I think. And,
Well, I mean, the story you told about the guy that rolled up on the wheelchair that came halfway across town.
Yeah, and we took, I mean, and that was,
But I mean-
again, that's, some of that stuff, and I tell you, I'll just be honest with you, when you see something like that, you gotta be pretty hard-hearted to think that, you're not gonna help somebody like that. And as long as I'm breathing,
Well,
I'm
he
not
told you
gonna.
to put the box on his
He's
lap.
going,
I don't
and
think
I'm
we're
going,
having-
you can't, I mean, seriously, the guy coming from across town, and I said, we're not gonna do that. So, I told him, I said, let me deliver you one, and, I hope the public understands that, but the guy could not physically hold 50 pounds on his lap and go across town. So I told him, I said, if you will give me until I will put you a box in the back of my truck and personally deliver it, and I did that, and I will do that again tomorrow, and because I promised him I would.
And I don't think we're having many from out of the county trying it anymore, are we? We did pretty.
No, I think we're pretty well getting that curtailed, and again, I want to.
It's hard to turn somebody.
It's hard to turn
Yeah,
anybody
I
down,
agree.
but again, we also want to, the program is designed, for the people of Scott County, and we're gonna certainly try to help the people of Scott County first and foremost. And, again, if there's something left over or something, I'm not opposed to doing anything, I guess.
I had a lot of people, of course, they was coming down, they was all thanking you, but there were a few gave me the wave.
Yeah, and again, again, we.
Would you like to demonstrate the way?
Well, it's kind of, I think he's talking about the California wave,
But along with that, the driver today delivers to 3 or 4 other areas in the state, and he said ours was probably the most organized.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's just the highway,
he said, I knew exactly where to go. I saw the traffic backed all the way up to the light, so I knew where I was going.
And have no doubt, and it was today, and we don't want anybody to be injured or hurt, and so we're gonna try to work on that again next week. We're worked on Austin last week, and we'll continue to probably have to do things different up there too, but, it's just amazing to me that, the response that we've had as far as the help and
Well, the side note to the driver today was he was a big kid, but he had a Ben Davis shirt on, and I asked him, I said, you play football at Ben Davis? He goes, yes, and his coach was our high school coach now. Coach Mullins was one of his assistant coaches, He goes, Coach Mullins? I go, yeah, he goes, he's my coach. So, you know, a little.
Small world, isn't it?
Small
Small
world.
world when you think about it.
I think every day there's only been a handful of people that didn't get a ball.
You know, and again, I think we are pretty well, I mean, the very few that don't, that we've run out and they didn't get, you know, so hopefully they're getting something the following day or the next week or whatever, but yeah, I think we're right on track on the numbers right now on that, but, again,
It's a wonderful thing.
I'll entertain a motion to get out of here, folks.
I'll make it.
Second,
Be glad to.
Second.
and, you know, I'll make that unanimous, we're out.
Get the copy of that. Yes.
All right, put that off.
Flip that off, if you will.